Hello and welcome to Tremors in Review. I am your host, Mario Rivera. Oh, this is the joke that will not die, and I'm so happy that I decided, you know what? Let's do it. Let's go ahead and make this happen. Joining me on this silly ass venture, I'm going to go ahead and start. Who knows what the placement is at this moment, but I'm going to start with, he is, of course, the coffee drinker connoisseur, damn fine coffee drinking connoisseur, now alcohol master, Michael Ruiz. How you doing, buddy?
Oh, I wasn't sure. I didn't know that was going to be me. I'm good. How are you guys?
Fantastic. Yeah?
I already have a question.
Yes, what's your question?
Did you throw in a Twin Peaks reference in there?
A little bit.
Just
a little
slight?
bit. Listen,
Yeah.
I'm still got to be on brand no matter what. So I had to put
So
a
yeah,
little-
that was the thing, because I'm like, I like Twin Peaks, but I'm not a Twin Peaks guy, you know. But I like it. I love it. So I wasn't sure if it was me or not, because I was like, I'm not a Twin Peaks guy. But then you said alcohol. I'm like, oh yes, I'm an alcoholic. That's okay. That's me.
and the cutie, of course, asking the question. He's right now the body on top of my Tinder profile. ISO Cristian, what's up?
Move over,
Wait.
Dune. There's a new worm in town.
Excuse me. Can you explain what you just said just now?
So I put the post out for Cristian, who has bought my T-shirt, who has my face on his body. Cristian, very pretty boy. He takes a lot of thirst traps in Mexico. I immediately asked him if I could just put that. Oh, by the way, if you hear the explosions on my microphone, that's Bert Gummer setting off some Graboid. So just don't worry about it.
This podcast takes place in universe.
In universe.
Yeah.
Universe. I'm right outside of Perfection, Nevada. But of course, no. So he obliged me, took a photo of him wearing the shirt. I, of course, cropped his face out, and I put that on my Tinder profile. So if you swipe right on me,
Amazing.
Sadly, the face is real. It's me. But the body of Cristian. So that.
What a flex for your Tinder profile. Here's somebody wearing my face on a t-shirt.
I feel proud just to be part of it.
100%, and it has worked at least once or twice. So thank you so much for that, Cristian.
Amazing.
But man, I need to talk to the man with no team. What's going on with that? You might know him as Jose Ruckus, also known as Brandon. How you doing, Brandon?
Rough time to be a sports fan, man, but good time to be a Tremors fan, I'll tell you what.
All right. And of course, we're here talking about Tremors, starting with the first film, which I believe came out in, 1990, January 9th, 19 actually. I was not born yet. I was still a couple months left before this movie came out, and is directed by Ron Underwood, produced by Brett Maddock and S.S. Wilson, who are names you will follow throughout a few of these films, which I'm very excited about. The movie, of course, stars Kevin Bacon, Fred Ward, Michael Gross, and Reba McEntire.
What a great cast.
Oh, such a
You have no-
fantastic cast.
You guys have no idea how surprised I was to see Kevin Bacon in this. That's literally one of my first notes is Kevin Bacon is in this?
That's
Yeah.
amazing, because Kevin Bacon at first did not want to be in this. Of course, this is on record for being the movie that which Kevin Bacon thought that his career was going downhill after, of course, the success of I was going to say Dirty Dancing. Oh my God.
Footloose.
Footloose. Thank you so much. Yeah. And but honestly, this is just sort of one of those sleeper hits that just did really well in the box or not in the box office, on the DVD actually. And then sort of kind of came around to it later in life. And spoilers for future, which we try our best not to do the movies, but there was a TV show that was gonna come out recently, but he shot the pilot. Sadly, did not air. I want to find that pilot so badly, but he had.
I think you can. I think it's available somewhere.
I will find it and I will download it and I will watch it for sure. Will it be a part of the series? Probably not. To set up a few ground rules, obviously we're clearly a joke to talk about in review, but at the same time we'll try to keep this as serious to the series that we're talking about, because honestly some of us are just real massive fans of Tremors, and otherwise I'm happy to bring on people who have not seen the series so far. We have at least talked about committing to 3 of the movies. There are 7 currently, and there's also, I have all the DVDs. This is the 4K Blu-ray. This is the 7-pack that my friend Max got me for Christmas one year. And of course, I did have to buy the Tremors, the TV show that takes place after the 3rd movie.
So you're like a fan.
I fucking love Tremors. So that's why when people, when the Greg Millers and the Tim Gettys and the Nick Scarpinos say they want to do Tremors and make jokes about it, I really want you to do it, and I don't think you will. So that's why I did it myself. Also, follow me back on Twitter, you fools. I'll just go ahead and say that. They won't see this far in the video. But of
I'm
course,
gonna clip out this part right
you.
here.
Thank you. Please do. But yeah, we're going to talk about Tremors. And first, I think what we're going to do is we're going to talk about what'd you think about the movie. I'm going to go ahead and start with Mike. Mike, tell me what you thought about Tremors.
I so I guess just a little bit of background. I had seen this movie probably, I don't know, it was years ago. I was in high school when I first saw it, and I've only seen it once. So me coming back to it now, it felt like I was just watching it for the first time again.
Perfect.
I don't remember. I didn't remember. Nothing. I remember nothing of the movie. It was the good kind of camp. I love it. I thought it was really great. Actually, I really enjoyed it. It was kind of goofy, whatever. Kevin Bacon was great. The whole cast was great. It was just a fun time. You know, yeah. I'm known to love the Mila Jovovich Resident Evil movie, so it kind of gives me the same kind of vibes of that.
I accept.
So
it.
yeah,
I accept.
I love it. It's great.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, this movie definitely is one of those, like, it's a horror movie that doesn't take itself seriously at all. The people that are your heroes are buffoons, and I love how much it has fun with it, for sure.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go with Brandon. What did you think of Tremors? Going back to it.
I'm like you. I'm like a pretty big Tremors fan. I love Tremors. I am down to watch all 7 movies because I've already seen all 7, so I might as well talk about all 7. I really, really like this movie. It's a movie I've seen dozens of times. Like, as a kid, it was like sleepover at a friend's house, renting movies, probably gonna rent Tremors. It's a great movie. Watching it again, like, I don't want to say that like it holds up because I think it goes like beyond that. I think it's just legitimately a good movie. Mm-hmm. And I think it's in that class, like, it's kind of this way for like a lot of like the horror movie that's like big franchises with 7 movies or whatever, where it's like a joke to say that like, oh yeah, like Nightmare on Elm Street or Friday the 13th or whatever. People kind of forget that like there's a reason it had so many sequels and stuff. It's because like it started off really, really good. This movie's like actually great.
No, that is absolutely true. The fact that it the only problem that I would say it's just the fact that the first movie just didn't do so well, and it's out of the limelight of, say, like a Friday the 13th, right? Or even a Nightmare on Elm Street, where like the first movie was just like crazy box office successful and then had a longevity to it. This was like, it didn't do well to begin with. It didn't take until the DVD sales until a little bit later when they were doing basically straight to TV sequels, just to put it lightly. However, I do say I think the second one kind of rivals this one, and I'm excited for when we eventually get there. Ooh. For sure. Second one to me is a lot of fun. But for another newcomer, Cristian, tell me what you thought of this film.
Yeah, so this is the first time I've ever seen a Tremors movie, and I have to establish like right off the bat that I already have a love-hate relationship with the series. Like there's a lot of stuff to love about this movie, and some small nitpicks. Yeah. And for me, I think, I don't know, is it the ritual of like renting the movie on Amazon, right, and like adding them all to my watch list that like didn't jive with me? Like, I think if I watched this on VH1 or rented it from Blockbuster, I'd have like some weird like more affinity to these movies. But
definitely,
I don't know. Watching it now is like, as a movie watcher, you know, like, I have some notes here, but otherwise, I still had like a lot of fun.
Yeah,
and the characters of Val and Earl are like fantastic. I am nervous though because we were talking right before we started recording that the future installments are like a steady decline, right? But still a decline. And so I'm like kind of excited, but also really nervous to see what we have in store.
Yeah.
In my opinion, none of the movies hit the heights of the first. I really love the second one. I actually think the second one's also really good, but I think the series goes down.
It's a steady
it doesn't go fast, but it does go down.
And partially why I said we're committing to at least 3, because I actually believe that the first 3 are the most fun in the series. When I got to see 4, 5, and all those other ones, there's a certain point where actually the people involved are no longer involved, and it's Universal that took over and gave it to somebody else. And that's when you feel sort of like, this isn't the series that I know of. They try to do different things, and I find them interesting for what they try to do. But there's something specific about this creature, right? There's something specific about this version of it that is just ingrained in my mind. And that's why when you go to eventually those other movies, there's a little bit of a disconnect. Is there people that go from the first movie all the way to the last one? Yes. So that's the cool thing. I won't say who, but there is a longevity with characters within the series, and that's what makes it awesome in a lot of ways. So I'm very excited to see what our journey is if we decide to go forward. And here's what I'll say. This video does at least 100 views. I'll consider doing
That's a big win for me.
I'll consider doing the fourth one. If it goes like up to 500 to 1,000, then okay, well, we're talking. All right, we're talking. I don't expect much, but for the people I do expect to enjoy this. And then for me, guys, yeah, I mean, Tremors, I don't even know how I found this movie. I think it was what, like you're saying, Cristian, it was just something that was on television. I stood there and I was like, wait a minute, I'm having a blast. Why am I having a blast? And you know what I think when I first saw it? Do you remember owning those Mummy DVDs, those Universal movie DVDs, and they would do those cool like cutting to other movies? And I remember seeing Kevin Bacon's face just standing there like on top of the cliff and like wondering what the hell movie that was. And sure enough, it's fucking Tremors. The other cool thing is that I noticed that a lot of people have reverence for this movie for the fact that the poster is always in the background in a lot of movies. I rewatched all the Scream movies. It's fucking Kirby has that poster in her bedroom, right? Mallrats, I think, has the poster because it was a Universal movie, has it in the background, which is funny because that movie also didn't do very well. But there's so much reverence for this series that permeates, and I love it. By the way, Fred Ward, fucking incredible. I love Fred Ward. I want to give him a shout out.
Yeah, he's great.
Legs that go all the way up. One of my favorite parts of the whole film. But we'll go ahead and let's move on to the plot. So I'm actually going to go ahead and we're going to break down the plot. You stop me where you want to talk about and emphasize with, okay? Does anyone want to try to do a plot theme song for Tremors?
Oh, God. Mike, I nominate you.
Just make it up.
Man, you put me on the spot for this. If I had my guitar with me, I'd play something, but I don't know.
Next week.
It's down in the basement. Next week. Yeah. Next time we have one of these, I'll bring out the guitar and we'll do something.
Amazing.
That's fine. But we'll go ahead and start. Yeah.
Real quick, not even a plot thing. Can I just say, probably one of the coolest title screens I've seen in a horror movie in like a really long time.
Oh yeah.
Like the orange and like as it goes darker, the colors get darker because it's like, the earth and all the strata, and then like it goes like sideways. Very cool stuff. I almost majored in geology in undergrad, so the nerd came out in me.
No,
I'm sorry.
I think it's awesome, yeah, because it sort of splits and like comes apart.
Yeah.
And as opposed to like it could have been like an easy like shaking thing or whatever to like go with like traveling through the dirt, but I like the simplicity of it. But yeah, I do like how different it looks. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the plot. So I'm reading the plot from Wikipedia because we needed to cut time. I wasn't going to be able to write line by line everything that happens. But I'm going to actually stop immediately after the first section. Valentine, Val McKee, and Earl Bassett are handymen working in Perfection, Nevada, an isolated settlement in the high desert east of the Sahara Nevada mountains. They eventually get tired of their jobs and leave for Bixby. Stop right there, all right? That's already cutting through some of the best stuff in the movie, and that, of course, is Val pissing off the side of a mountain.
Yeah.
This movie starts.
Seconds into the movie.
Yes. You know what kind of heroes you're getting. What was your first thoughts, Cristian, of both Val and Earl?
Okay. I was almost going to geek out for a second.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I'm going to bring it up. Dude, I'm a sucker for like super idyllic vistas. Like if you're a big 2021 movie watcher, you like Power of the Dog, Power of the Dog. Like,
yeah.
Cool vistas in that movie, right? This one, DP Alexander Gruzinski, in his freaking element already. Like I don't watch a lot of horror movies like really like interesting and cool cinematography. This movie nails it. There's a later scene that we'll get to that I also think was really cool. But to answer your question, I don't know. Like I feel like I'm hanging out with the bros when I watch these movies. Like I almost wanted to crack open a beer listening to Val and Earl like riff off each other because it almost feels like they're doing improv for like the whole thing. I know they're not. They're following a script.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
It's so good. Yeah.
Yeah, I of course, this is as an introduction to your characters and how buffoonery they can be. The first thing you see, Val, like I said, he has his dick out, so it's like that's starting your movie right off there. I do love though that this movie and like a lot of movies that I think that set up things early on that pay off way later in the movie where they're talking about the stampede. And they first bring it up here in this scene specifically, so that way it ties up. It's not one of those movies where it's like you hear the sound of the stampede and that's how Val knows that he's going to do it. It's just like, oh, it's just calling back to something that happened way earlier in the movie that allows it to happen. But yeah, obviously he pulls a prank on Fred Ward right here, who of course is Earl Bassett, the sort of older gentleman that he sort of hangs out with. I don't know. They never establish how they got together in terms of a relationship to being handymen. They're just two dudes that live in a trailer in the middle of the desert in this small, like little perfect town. I mean, I don't know. I find it very, very nice.
It's sort of like one of like the Doc and Marty relationship where it's like, how did this start?
Yes. Yeah. How did this young hot stud who was dancing in a small town land over here before being in Flatliners? I'm very curious.
I need somebody to crack open the Tremors lore and tell me more about their history and also the Stampede, which I totally forgot about.
Yeah, exactly. So they don't get fully into it later, but we'll definitely get some more stuff in the future. But ultimately,
to call out a line right here that is one of my favorite lines in the movie. But a stampede up your ass.
Stampede up your ass. So good. My favorite part is, of course, you're just getting these two guys. You're getting their relationship. There's a part where they're building a fence. And in this part specifically, I love, and people call it out all the time, if you noticed, Kevin Bacon cannot nail a fucking thing down into that board. He takes fucking forever before he actually nails it in for the last time for sure. But I just love that little piece of like character building there.
There must be like, oh, sorry, Mike, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I feel like half the reason why I even really like this movie is like this, basically the beginning of it before you even see the worms or whatever they're called, the tremors. Well, like it's building up this, like you see the relationship between them. I feel like that's why probably people like gravitate towards it, because there are many people who live in a small town and have like bros that they just hang out with, you know? And yes. I feel like that is semi-relatable, and that is why I feel like it probably is as beloved as it is, or even deserves to be. So I feel like this beginning part, like the relationship between Earl and Valor, is like very important, because without it, I don't think this movie would be good at all.
You're not wrong. It is the relationship of the two main guys who are your reluctant heroes. And I love how they just keep getting put into the situation. Like there's a later scene where they're trying to figure out like, how are we going to get out of there? They're like, we got to ride by horses. Who's the best horse riders? And they just turn to the left and they just see them sitting there. And they're going to be the ones that does it. I absolutely love that. Of course.
Dude.
Yeah.
And the running joke of them playing rock, paper, scissors to decide who's doing what. Like, that's incredible.
I literally do that with like my friends. So it was like, or I basically, whenever we choose something and no one knows what to do, I tell them to pick a hand, as if like I have two choices in my hands, and I tell them to pick it, and then that's the one that they choose. It's like the same kind of shit. Like, so
that's awesome.
Yeah, that's that kind of relatable garbage that's like really dumb, but like, I don't know, it's kind of charming in its own way. It's nice.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty positive that Kevin Bacon never wins in this movie. I'm pretty positive he actually exclusively loses every single time, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so, yeah.
I think you're right.
Yeah. Even in the end where he's like, oh, it looks like I lost, I got to go do this thing. He's still...
Right.
Yeah. Even though he's reluctantly wants to do it. So I love that little detail of just like Kevin Bacon always getting the shit end of the stick, and Fred Ward getting to live pretty easy. Of course, they eventually get tired of their jobs and leaving for Bixby. Bixby, which is I wanted to get Bixby tattooed on me. And the reason why is because it's this mysterious town in this series. And I'm excited to talk about this more later. But just this idea of Bixby. By the way, in combination with this, which was totally kismic, totally accidental, there's a great YouTube channel called Kill Count by Dead Meat. Dead Meat's the actual channel. The show is called Kill Count. They're doing a Tremors, going through all the Tremors movies and recapping all the kills. And so definitely recommend watching that and connection with this for sure. But there's a whole gag about Bixby in that show. And it's hilarious. As they eventually get tired of the jobs for Bixby, as they leave, they discover the dead body of Edgar Deems, a character, of course, we never meet. He's just hanging out there on top of a pole. Well, okay, so not for the two people that have seen the movie, or at least Cristian actually, because you didn't even know. Did you even know what the monster was?
I mean, yeah, I had an
Seen
idea.
it? Okay.
Yeah.
So in terms of
Just like YouTube videos, you know what I mean?
Fair enough.
Like you end up knowing, like, yeah.
Got it. Okay. I was just wondering if there was a way to find out, like, how the fact that this was a underground dwelling thing, and the reason why he had to be stuck on that pole for so long.
No, but like I think I know where you're going with that because, you know, in the movie they say that, you know, he died of like dehydration because he was up there for so long. And like legit, I was stumped for a second. I was like, dehydration. Like I had it on pause. I was like thinking this through. It took me like a few minutes to realize, oh, duh, he's up there because he doesn't want to come down because the Graboid's down there.
Yes.
As I've learned to call it. I was calling it a tremor as well for the longest time.
I don't care. It's Tremor.
That's fine. I love. Eventually, in the movie, they call them Graboids, but there is a point where you hear someone say snakeoids. We're gonna talk about that fucking kid in a minute, but we'll get there. Let's see here. You know what? Well, actually, I think it's in this area. Let's talk about. So they're doing a bunch of odd jobs, right? And one of the jobs they had to do is they had to clean a fucking septic tank for this asshole named Melvin. What are you guys' thoughts on Melvin? Melvin is a shit kid who's like, way to go, dude.
That kid sucks.
Yeah,
he does.
That kid sucks.
He is the worst.
And I've seen like the casts for like the next movies. He's in the other movies. Yeah.
He's
right?
in.
I will not confirm or deny.
He's in another movie, I think.
I think so. I think he's also a part of the show. I believe he would have probably a role in here. It's been years since I've seen this, so I'm definitely excited to go back and watch this.
If you had named him Asswipe, like I would have known who you were talking about immediately because that's the one thing that's like stood. Like I don't hear Asswipe as an insult anymore.
No.
So like that stuck out. Melvin,
Yeah.
get out of here. That guy does suck.
No, 100%. Every step of the way, he's just a dickhead. Like going from like throwing the basketball at the wall, messing around with them constantly about this Graboid thing, wrapping it around himself, nearly getting a bullet by Gummer, which by all means, please pull the fucking trigger sometimes. But
I was pretty happy when the dude gave him the gun and then there was no bullets in it. And he's like,
yeah, that's a great bit.
I was like, yes, thank you. This kid could have gotten in real trouble actually, and he would have died because there was no actual bullets, and it would have been fine.
There's also
the line. I wouldn't give you a gun if it were World War III.
Yeah, he's like, you're the last person I want to have a loaded gun.
Yeah.
So good. Got you moving, didn't it? I'll go ahead and speed this through a little bit. Edgar Deems, a fellow resident, perched on top of an electrical tower, still grasping at the tower's crossbeams with his rifle. Jim Wallace, the town's doctor, determines that Edgar died of dehydration, apparently having been too afraid to climb down. Later on, an unseen creature kills Shepherd Fred and his flock of sheep. How this was the first like visceral, I think, like attack that we saw.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting to see the later aftermath when, of course, Valen Earl discovers his severed head and believes that a serial killer is on the loose.
What great effects, by the way.
Yes.
It's just like practical, right? Just like some dude, like, pretend to be dead, like in like sunken dirt. But it still like looks really good.
Yeah, looks absolutely incredible. These two characters, by the way, actually had a different introduction on the Blu-ray. You can watch it. They actually have a dialogue scene, but they, of course, in the movie cut it out. Because I think this movie just opened so much stronger than what they were setting up, which was Edgar going up there personally. Just sort of like falling into this mystery in a lot of ways. I just found such a way smarter deal.
There's actually like a bunch of stuff that got cut because originally this was a rated R movie.
Yeah.
And then I think that they just like saw that there's like actually not a lot of like gore or anything in it. So mostly it's like cutting some stuff out and then like you can watch a bunch of characters. Their mouth says fuck, but they don't say fuck.
Yes. Actually, to bring that up, there's a few things. Yes. In this movie, you can see there's like, I think Val saying it on the radio is like, I got that mother humpers. Like, we got 2 more mother humpers. And you can see that the words are not matching with the face. Funny enough, on the DVD, there is a whole section called Pardon My French, which of course is a phrase that they constantly say throughout the movie, where they actually show edited TV versions of the movie where they replace the words with other things. Like instead of saying Jesus, they'll say like, geez, like shit like that. And they'll just replace all the curse words with something else. So absolutely, if you want to spend $40 on a worm movie, this or Dune. You got one or the other. This is a fantastic copy of that film.
Sorry, Denis Villeneuve.
Sorry, I'd rather watch Tremors.
Yeah.
Oh man. Later on, we see unseen creatures kill Fred Shop. Earl disturb his head. Let's see. 2 construction workers ignore Val and Earl's warning as they are killed by the same creature, causing a rock slide. Again, we don't see what kills them, but I love the effect of this very smart-ass worm somehow allowing a rock slide to murder these people.
I love this part. I liked when they used the jackhammer and then like you see the blood ooze out of the concrete. I thought that was awesome. I really loved that. It was kind of dumb, but it was awesome.
No, I love it because it gives you kind of your first reveal of like, oh, how big is this fucking thing?
Yeah, and then like seeing the jackhammer like go down the street and whatever, like that was really cool. I really enjoyed that part.
No, for sure. One of my favorite lines. Go ahead.
Yeah, here's the thing about those 3 scenes you just mentioned that like we still have never seen it, and it's still like the opening. But like that's what makes these like the opening mystery so powerful. It's like the art of tension of like the monster that we don't know what it looks like or like the potential of the destruction it will cause.
Yeah,
like that intro like does slap.
No, 100%. I mean, it's the same effect that I would say even Jaws does in a lot of ways. You don't see the shark for so long in that movie, but until you do, you're actually revealed to the terror of it. That has a similar feeling, and that's a lot of Universal movies do that actually, which is pretty kind of cool.
This movie is actually like super inspired by Jaws. Like it is trying to be Jaws in the desert. I think like the original script was written. The title was Land Shark. Like they're trying to do like Jaws, but in the desert.
Look at that movie poster. Like
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
that is Jaws. It's the Jaws movie poster.
The movie poster is so funny because yes, it is absolutely a reference to Jaws, but the thing is not the tremor itself; it's the mouth tentacle, if that. Like,
yeah, well, I mean, that's a really great fake out, though, right?
Yes, it is. That is correct because actually, once Val and Earl, screaming mad, goes back to town, tries to call the police, can't do anything. Beforehand, though, I did want to mention one of my favorite segments, which of course is Val and Earl are ready to leave. They're talking to, I believe her name, I forgot what her name, but her daughter's name is Mindy. Mindy's on the pogo stick, which sets up the pogo stick for a little later on. She, of course, is like, wants him to do something for her, and she's like, I got cold beer. And then they just both look at each other, and then they just drive off. And they're just like, I can't believe it. We Temptations. Stay away from cold beer.
That is the big thing that the characters need to overcome. Like that is their character arc. Is that they will almost do anything just to like free beer is like they will like do anything for just like the lowest like creature comforts.
100%. They clearly own their land. They can do whatever they want there. But yeah, having free beers, that's not bad.
There's an earlier line that I think we kind of skipped over that I really wanted to bring up because it sets up their dynamic really well as well. And it's with someone we talked about yet, so I'll introduce her now.
Oh, yes!
Sorry, Mario. No. Finn Carter is Rhonda, the geology student. Seismologist, I think, actually, technically. Seismologist student.
Seismologist. Yes.
Yeah, and so she's talking to Val and Earl, like, over the truck, right? And she asks, is anyone doing any drilling or blasting? And like Earl looks over at Val and says, "Not around here." And like that got like
no,
such a good visceral laugh out of me. Yeah, it was so good. Like, oh, this dude is single as hell. I feel right on, brother. I'm right there with you.
To preface that scene, there is the scene, of course, like they're talking. They see her actually out in the distance, and they're driving, and it's like, wait, that's supposed to be a girl. And then they like turn. It's like, you will have long legs. Breasts that don't quit. Obviously, the worst thing that this person could obviously say, but I love that he gets deflated the fact that it's just a normal woman. It's just a woman that is in the sun. Like whatever. But of course, he has a logic turn later where he's totally attracted to her because she is awesome as fuck and one of the best characters in the movie. It's fine. I'm reading through the plot and I noticed that in the next paragraph they then bring up Rhonda, but you're absolutely right. She comes in like way earlier in the movie.
I like that the turning point for him for his relationship, I'm pretty sure, is the pole vaulting part. And it's this weird thing where it's like he's really attracted to people who pole vault. Then I don't know.
Well, I do like
he's cool. He can pole vault. That's great.
Like, oh, cool. This is like me.
They set it up when he's like disappointed with her, and Earl's like what the fuck? Okay, she's not like the perfect woman. She's still like hot and awesome.
Yeah, it's not Tammy Lynn Baxter. No, 100%.
It's the sunblock.
It's
Yeah, it's the sunblock, and like, what does she wear? She wears like a weird hat.
You know what it is? And this is
Yeah.
totally a trope of the 90s, and this is probably the very beginner of it. It's the trope of like the ponytail and the glasses.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Didn't they do like the kind of like making someone unattractive with the sunscreen and stuff in Jurassic Park? Didn't they do that?
I'm trying to
Like
remember.
a weird hat.
No, I think. Well, was it? Well, oh my god, I can't.
Like wasn't it Laura
Was
Dern's
Laura Dern?
character?
I remember there was something with sunscreen actually, but
I'm
I
gonna
don't care.
Google
I always
Laura
had.
Dern's
I
sunblock.
always was in love with Laura Dern. Since
I
the
feel like-
early on.
I also feel like that was a weird trope in the 90s. The whole sunscreen on the thing is unattractive. I don't know. It's weird, but
Because you're a dork and you look silly with
Yeah.
it.
I mean, it is pretty silly. It is pretty silly.
No, 100%. Val and Earl try to find help after warning the residents, which, you know what, let's, at this point, we're talking about the residents. Let's talk about the rest of them. Of course, we have the shop owner, Walter Chang, who is immediately a scammer in a lot of ways, and I love him to death. Love that actor, of course, Victor Wong, if I'm not mistaken. You would recognize him from movies such as The Golden Child and Big Trouble in Little China, which I absolutely adore him in, and so many other films as well.
Three Ninjas.
Three Ninjas.
That's what I always remember him from.
He's in another Carpenter
Yeah.
film called Prince of Darkness, and he's awesome. He's absolutely awesome.
Yeah.
The other, of course, go ahead.
Yeah, okay, I didn't know here because you're talking about the village now, right?
Yes,
Well, if
just-
you want to get to the rest of the people, then I can ask. Yeah, I'll ask
Yeah,
after.
well, I was going to mention up. So we got, of course, we got Melvin. We have Nestor, who's also sort of like the, just a regular old good boy, just hanging out there, kind of a dummy. You, of course, have, I'm going to say, Mindy and her mother. You, of course, also have, if I'm not mistaken, we're going to talk about good old introduction to Bert Gummer and Heather Gummer. One of, if not, the best characters in all of cinema, as far as I'm concerned.
Hell yeah.
I warmed up to them by the end. But
By the
yes,
end.
okay. It took Mike. Maybe I'll ask you since it's
Sure.
like kind of your first time watching as well.
Yeah.
Maybe I missed it, but like it took me so long to realize that the whole population of Perfection was pretty much just the town surrounding like this one store. I thought there was like a bigger town and there's like more people. It's just like 14 people.
That's
Literally.
the population, was 14 people. Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. I mean, it is in the middle of the desert.
Yeah, that's true.
I
It's
don't
literally
know.
landlocked, so apparently the mountains wrap around it, right? This is, it's, what was it? Oh my God, Bert said a line about it, or the reason why he moved here was the fact that it was so perfect for that sort of geographical, like, warfare kind of deal. But I love him always constantly scared about eminent domain. So always waiting for the government to come take his land. Well, of course, these are your big gun freaks in the movie.
Yeah, the Gummers were weird because I feel like they were setting them up to not be cool, and then they were kind of cool at the end. Like, I don't know. Like that's how I felt. Like,
They have, to me, the best reveal, and we'll get to it again, but when you see them in their basement and then the thing breaks through and you see this giant wall of guns,
yeah,
fucking awesome. As much as they're the kind of people I don't like. Fuck it, you have all those guns, use them.
Well, this
Bert
is why
Gummer
it's so
is an interesting character
Yeah.
because like that type of character in 1990 is a very different person than who they are in 2020.
Yes.
yes.
It's not hard to imagine that Bert would not do well with the internet. But like,
Yeah.
I mean, he's a responsible gun owner. He gives a gun to a kid and it's not loaded. He's
Yeah, sure.
he just wants to fuck off in the desert and own a bunch of guns. That's all he wants.
I will say, I'm trying not to give future spoilers, but I'll give an instance to maybe will relieve you of the bad feelings of the character. Is that the character ultimately, after the discovery of Graboids, very much is not about taking other human lives for the most part. It's very much taking out the greater enemy, which I do enjoy. But yeah, he's still a military nut.
And that's what I was gonna say. Like, if the movie's gonna engage with that at all, I think having it be Val respond and be like, "Well, I used to make fun of this guy's lifestyle. I guess I can't anymore." Like that engagement was enough for me. Like, yeah, this rocks. No, this is okay.
Yeah.
Like, I know he's not like going after other people. I know he's not some like weird wacko. You know, it's fine.
Yeah, he loves this little town. He loves his privacy. He loves his own little space. He's not interacting with the greater, problem at large. He's just trying to be himself. Does he like blowing things up? Yeah, sure. Okay.
As someone who comes from a small town in the Midwest, I could tell you that we have blown shit up sometimes because it just happens.
All I'm saying, if I could live out in a bunker in the desert and just have guns and nobody bothers me for the rest of my life, I think that'd be fine. That seems like a good way to live.
Yeah, Earl was definitely. I'm sorry, Bert was definitely having a good time, and of course, Reba McEntire playing Heather in this film. Of course,
hell yeah,
is a smaller role, but her being there as a part of Gummer's like sort of entourage of just people holding guns, having a good time, kind of cool.
Yeah,
has the end credit song as well, which I thought was a lot of fun.
I was very surprised to have seen. I was like, see her in the castle. I'm like, why is Reba McEntire in this? Like, why? And I don't know. I mean, yeah, she was great in it.
Yeah, just for the little parts that she has, like, here, take my H&H Mac. Like, I don't know, it's awesome. I have a lot of fun with her. Just to go a little further in the plot, of course. Let's see here. Val and Earl help to find the warning residents, but the phone lines are dead because Walter. I love that they completely just yell at Walter every time, but he's like, "It's the mountains. It's all that jazz." Phone lines are dead. The rock slide is blocked. The only road out of town, out of sight. The snake-like creature wraps around the truck's axle. It is torn apart when Val stomps on the accelerator, which I still love the back and forth between Val and Earl just screaming at each other going through. They go back to town, and of course, this is the scene where we finally see something, right? They go back to town. They notice, I think Mindy sees it, for the first time, and then everyone runs out and sees this snake-like creature wrapped around the axle. And you got Bert Gummer immediately enamored with it. Like, he's never seen this in his life, and he's like absolutely like just kind of like going like absolutely enthralled that there's something new in his life. And I really appreciate that about him. Of course, immediately Walter Chang is trying to cut a deal with Earl and Vale for $15 to own this thing, which Walter immediately turns into the best venture ever with $3 a pop of a photograph. That was awesome. That's one way to make a value back. I do like that a lot. Of course,
can't escape capitalism, not even in Perfection, Nevada.
Nope. No, you cannot, which pretty funny. This, of course, is when they start developing a plan because they assume that there's not just one, there's got to be more. Because at this point, there is, let's count all the dead real quick. You got the guy up top, right? You got Edgar. You got Fred. You got 2 construction workers. You also got 2 other construction workers that were on the other side of the road as well, if I'm not mistaken. And then the doctor and his wife, which let's talk about that scene for a second. Let's give a break on this one. What did you think about that horse scene? Yeah.
Yeah, I think one, like, this is like the only scene that's like in the dark that I remember.
Yes.
Like, it's like in nighttime.
Yes.
And it's got like the one thing I specifically remember is like it's got a great use of sound, particularly with the car audio. Once everything starts sinking into the ground, first of all, just the sheer like power on the screen of this thing taking down an entire car is like sublime. But the car audio like fading as it like goes down into the earth is fantastic, and like that art attention there in that scene was awesome.
Yeah, no, definitely. This is definitely the most horrific scene, I would say, in the movie in terms of not knowing how to survive this, not knowing what the rules are as of right now. And for her to sadly get sucked down inside that Ford was really kind of terrifying. Because look, they were building a really nice house. They spent all day doing it. Who knows what they did with Edgar's body? We're not going to ask questions. What happened to that? There's no morgue.
Yeah.
They bury him? Who knows?
Yeah, it kind of like reinforces like how unstoppable these things feel at the moment, and also like how, I mean, you learn how many there actually are, but it seems like there are a ton of them. Like it's all like just the little like worms or whatever like that. You don't really realize the whole thing. Like they have that like good kind of fake out. They have the big reveal thing later on, which I think is a really funny part. But yeah, it's like you really don't know how to deal with it at this moment. Like it's kind of like like an unstoppable threat kind of thing, and I think that was a really well done scene to kind of establish that.
No, for sure. I will say, and for future watches, this is the scene I skip the most just because I know what happens, and I just want to get the Val and Earl so quickly. So
that's fair.
Just saying. I might skip through when I watch it this time to get the Val and Earl. It is what it is.
But those skinny little worm freaks are so gross.
They are so freaking gross. I love them so much. I want them as a puppet so badly. So if I find, I'm gonna Etsy shops, I'm looking at you. I'm gonna go see if I can find a little worm guy for future episodes. Let's see. So this is where we come up with the plan, right? We're gonna decide that Val and Earl are gonna go ahead and ride some horses through the valley because the road is blocked off, and so we get this part where obviously Melvin, being the dickhead that he is, wraps the fucking Graboid tongue, comes out and scares, had that great moment with Bert. But then the boys go off and they're going riding, and that's when they meet and find out obviously what happened to the doctor, and they bump into the bumper, rub it off, and then they see still hear the music. Pretty terrifying. And they're hauling ass. They're hauling ass through the desert, trying to make it to Bixby. But then all of a sudden, the horses get spooked. And you see one of the first many instances of a Graboid tentacle, whatever we're going to call this, wrapped around it. But if you watch it, and I watched it in 4K, and I knew about this already. If you watch it closely, you can see that it is a horse wrapped up in that thing, but sadly is being pulled by a wire to the ground. You can see the wire clear as day. I don't know if you saw that in the scene.
It's like a real horse?
Yeah, that was real. That was a real horse.
Pulling a real horse?
They pulled down a real horse. I'm sure it was a stunt horse, but yeah, they straight up pulled down a real horse with a wire.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so it did a real stunt. A lot of the stuff you see in this movie is definitely in reverse. But that one looked like it was in real time. It looked like it fell down in real time, but it looked like it was sort of yanked down, which is powerful.
There are a couple effects that like really stand out. I haven't seen it in 4K. I can only imagine it's gotten worse with time.
Yeah.
But there's one at the end where Kevin Bacon's like running away, and like you can very clearly see that he is running on a piece of wood that has some dirt sprinkled over top it because a Graboid's gonna pop out from there.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
It's just all like shaking around and stuff.
My favorite.
Okay.
My favorite
Brandon, what was your suspension of disbelief? All right.
I've seen this movie so many times, man. I'm just looking at everything now.
Here, I'm gonna go ahead and ruin this for people. If you watch the end when everyone's running to the cliff, if you look at Rhonda, that's a man. That's a man. That's
What? That's amazing.
That's a man running as Rhonda wearing a wig, which is, I love this movie so goddamn much. Of course, this is our first big reveal. This is it. We finally get to see what the fuck these things actually look like. And boom, right through the dirt comes the head of a Graboid. I adore this dick-looking monster so bad. It is my absolute favorite design because it just looks ridiculous and awesome all at the same time. Cristian, what is your thoughts on the look of the Graboid?
First of all, I already said it. These things are disgusting, and it's made worse. And this is what makes the movie like better, in my opinion. But it's made worse for me because they keep talking about how much it smells.
Yes.
I can only imagine that compounded with like the Nevada heat, how disgusting these things must actually like look and feel to be like that. Oh, disgusting! I hate it. Good in the movie though.
That's awesome, Mike. What are your recollections of these monsters? What are your thoughts on them?
I thought they were pretty rad. So, I don't know. Like, there's not really much to say. I guess like for me, like all things considered, I think they're kind of like. I mean, if you want me to be serious about it, they're kind of like a forgettable thing.
Sure.
I mean, they do look like a dick.
They do look like a dick. 100%.
But again, like I think it's less about like I don't know. I feel like the movie's less about how those things look and more like the terror that they reign over it. So I don't really think the design really matters.
Sure.
But I thought that was a cool reveal though, and really like it kind of like that whole reveal kind of lessened the threat a little bit.
Sure.
Not only is there less, but then also that one that they had was like dumb as rocks and just like ran into a wall and died. So you're like, wow, these things are dumb. Like you could easily kill these things, no problem. Which obviously changes like probably 10 minutes later when they're stuck on the desert or whatever. And they, again, the aforementioned pole vault scene. But yeah, they're cool. They're pretty cool. They're great.
Before Brandon, I'm gonna ask you the same question. I'm just like, I fucking love the design, especially the little arm things, the little
like the scooters.
90s horror like 90s horror stuff is weird because like a lot of it is forgettable, but when you see it, it's like this is kind of gross. Like I was just thinking like about Mimic.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah.
Like kind of the same feeling. Like no one remembers what those creatures look like until you see them. Like wow, that's pretty gross looking. That's kind of weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, kind of the same feelings on that.
No, for sure. But I love that at least in the early 90s, this was a practical thing that they built.
Oh yeah,
Shine
definitely.
light, you know. And obviously they made small miniature versions, stuff like that. It's so cool. But Brandon, what are your thoughts on the legacy of the original Graboid?
Absolutely love the original Graboid. Amalgamated Dynamics, the effects company that worked on this movie, did just such a great job with the Graboid design and stuff, and like you said, like thinking out like the little like polar arms about like how they move through the ground and stuff, and like how they kind of have like the sharp front to them. And then, like, yeah, I really love the fake out of, like, the tongue or whatever. Like, they initially think that that's the monster. And then it's like,
Yeah.
oh, no, that is just, like, no, this thing is huge.
Yes.
And, yeah, like you said, like, how it's just, like, it runs into that concrete wall and dies or whatever. One of the things I really like about this movie is that, like, the Graboids, like, learn. Like, anytime that they figure out a way to, like, get away from the Graboids or, like, kill one of them, like, they immediately, like, that trick never works again. They figure it out. And,
Yeah.
like, the worms, like they learn really fast, but they're kind of dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of like the interesting thing about like this entire movie is that like initially you get like this scene where like this dark horror scene that they're seem like they're unstoppable, and then the next time you see them, the one dies like pretty easy.
Yeah.
But then the next time you see him, like right after that, it's like, oh, they immediately learned how to deal with that problem, and now they're like an actual like big threat.
Mhm.
I don't know. It's like oddly well done in like a like in like a like simple way. It's so simple, but they like easily build tension throughout that entire movie by like faking you out on what these things can do and what they even are.
No, 100%. Of course, the chase ends when the creature crashes through the concrete wall of an aqueduct, dying from the impact. Of course, this is the great scene where Kevin Bacon says, "Fuck you," and then immediately gets scared by Rhonda. So good. So good.
I like the part where he's at the end of it. He's like, I found the tail end of it or whatever. Like,
Found the ass in.
yeah. Like, this guy's an idiot, but I love him.
I love it. I love it.
One of my favorite scenes happens in this part, and it takes like 5 seconds. It's when Earl trips over a hole in the ground, and he screams, and it's just a prairie dog hole, and it's hilarious, dude. What a nice small touch to include that in the movie.
Yeah.
So good. I love it too. Part of me thought it was Rhonda's, cause she was digging holes earlier in the movie and like putting things in. I thought that's what it was, but I love the idea. I was like, God damn, prairie dog Burl. So good. There again, Fred Ward. I need you more in these movies. That's all I'm saying. When we continue on, of course, they discover, that these things are really, really old. This is the greatest discovery. They're already talking about, how famous they're going to be after this. And then they start walking and they go heading towards Rhonda's little camp area that she has. Oh, go ahead. What? You good? You good?
I'm sorry. I've been reading the How Tremors Graboids Work lore page, and I might be just in too deep because I may have read a future spoiler.
Oh,
I'm
no.
just not gonna read out loud.
Oh no!
I'm just gonna stop reading right
ahead.
now.
Stop right now because there's a lot that you're going to be seeing. The next 2 movies specifically. Okay, we'll go from there.
Okay.
Yeah, because I was gonna say like the next movie, don't look at the box art, don't look at anything, just start it and just go from there. But anyways, fuck man, that's awesome.
These things are from outer space, aren't they? These things are aliens, aren't they?
Well, no. Well, you're gonna have to find out through the rest of the
Have
series.
to wait and find out.
No future spoilers.
No future spoilers. You're gonna have to wait and find out. Until next time we get together and record this. Of course, they're at the camp. Rhonda is saying, she actually discovers that there's actually 3 more of them, right? Because the signs on the grass are going off crazy all over the valley, and right there, the valley thing is going ticking. So that means that they're right there. And who do they find? They find Stumpy, which we're going to be calling this Graboid Stumpy, which is the Graboid that grabbed their truck earlier and got ripped off. And they're trapped on residual boulders, as I will refer to them. I wish that we had a theme song for residual boulders. If someone can provide that in the future, that'd be great. But because that happens quite a bit in a lot of stuff. But yeah, so we get in the first scene where, of course, Val, Earl, and Rhonda are all together. They're trapped on rocks. They're trying to test the water to see what they can do. And this is the part of the movie that I love the most, which, of course, is the beginning of this movie is just fucking the floor is lava. And that's what I love. It's just the floor is lava. And how can we avoid touching the ground in any way possible? And we get, it's sort of like overnights where they're stuck there. And that isn't until, of course, we get the pole vaulting scene. What is your first thoughts on the pole vaulting scene and how they discovered to get through this? Where do the poles even come from? I have no idea.
Is by far my favorite part of the movie.
The poles are explained. The poles are explained.
They are?
Right? Doesn't Rhonda say that like she had equipment there that like, she was using?
Oh, interesting. Yeah, okay, that could be weird.
Or am I crazy?
It could be
No,
right.
I think you're right.
I think you're right.
Yeah, big win for ISO Christian here.
There you go.
Yeah, this part is by far my favorite part of the movie. I think it perfectly shows like the relationship between like other than like the beginning parts too, but like between the two main characters and then also developing their relationship with Rhonda. I think it's like really funny and just like really goofy. Like that's one of the parts that it feels like kind of they're riffing a little bit too, but
Yeah.
it's good. I really like that part. And I also, again, like I said before, I like that this is like the turning point for which Val starts to like Rhonda. And it's literally as she pole vaults and she's like, yes, this girl's a badass now. She can pole vault. I just think that's really goofy and funny. But
She's
it's the
smart
simple
and a
thing.
badass and awesome. Yeah.
It's the simple things sometimes,
No, for sure. Of course, go ahead.
Yeah, to jump on that, like one thing that really worked for me was like even before the pole vaulting is when they like have to sleep on the rocks and they wake up in the morning and you see that Val has taken off his jacket and placed it on Rhonda. Like that's just like a sweet, nice little touch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you get to actual pole vaulting. First of all, incredible that like Rhonda's resourcefulness. I thought that was like really great.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
I hated everything else about it. I'm so sorry, Mario.
Oh, it's so beautiful. The sun
Dude, that
coming
music,
up.
the music,
The music,
music?
they're going across the so
I
good.
hated it, dude. Like, I understand what they were going for, but like, I feel like I was watching a scene from a different movie. Like, I was going insane, dude.
I
I don't know.
love
My,
it.
my wife and I were laughing so hard. It was great. I love that part.
Oh my God, she watched this too. Man, you should.
Yeah. She's watching. She's going to be watching them with me. So
She can be totally a guest on the next one. I don't care. This is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Composer, of course, I believe is Ernest Roost, who does the musical score, and I love it. To be honest with you, I love everything he does throughout the movie. Specifically, very similar to, Spielberg movies in a lot of ways. Personally, everything that Universal kind of does. But then, of course, they get to the end of the pole vault where they're going to decide they're going to jump on Rhonda's truck. Rhonda puts the keys in her mouth immediately. Again, like you said, Mike, really resourceful, really knows what to do. She gets in there, and the struggle to get the poles away is hilarious. And then she jumps into the to the front. Oh my God, what? Why am I dying in my head right now? She goes into the front part, but has her legs hanging out the side. Right? She puts the keys in, is getting attacked by the thing. The car is getting totally messed up. If you have a 4K Blu-ray, you can see it's a pump that's picking up the truck. But I love the fact that she just puts the keys in, puts her pedal on the gas, and they just start taking off, and they're celebrating.
I not only is she resourceful, but she can drive and stay on the road while not looking. She's like, think about this. She has her hand on a wheel. She has her head down and puts her hand on the pedal and just presses it. And when you see them driving, they're on the road. They're just going along the road.
Yeah.
I'm like, I understand now why Val thinks this girl's a badass.
And I don't even want to even think about how they solved how to like get her totally in there without like not stopping, right? Because they can't stop. But yeah, they eventually get back to, of course, to the town of Perfection. Everybody's still kind of freaked out, kind of gathered in the convenience store. You got Mindy just bopping around, still on her pogo stick. And then, of course, they get there. They tell them, like, it's worse than we thought. Things are going nuts. Bert and Heather are not there. They're still looking around. I think they were actually going to look for Rhonda, if I'm not mistaken. That was their whole goal before we see them next. And I think here, I'm going to go ahead. Yeah, return to town. All three of the main runs attack the settlement. I don't want to read that because that's just cutting through early. We get the first major attack, right? Where it is emerge from the, I think Melvin being a total dickhead the entire time, scaring them, throwing the basketball at Earl, just being an absolute jerk. And then finally, it's the boy who cried wolf. He walks a little further from the station. You see this puff of smoke, and you see him screaming again. And everyone's like totally messed up and mad about Melvin. Runs out, sees Melvin on a pole with his leg actually bleeding. And it took me so long to finally see that. I saw it before this showing, but I remember like why the fuck, like how did he get up there? Like the fact that he is bleeding is actually kind of interesting. The fact that he's actually scared and terrified. We of course hit the giant reveal. The big snake comes alive, bumps out of the floor right there. We, of course, then get the whole everyone scatters, right? That's the point where Nestor goes to his thing. Melvin goes to the shack, right inside the shack at first. And then, of course, Val is he's jumping on the truck, and the truck gets fucked up. And then we get Rhonda, who gets wrapped up in the barbed wire. And I'm absolutely fucking freaking out. You better not take out Rhonda. She's one of the coolest things in this movie so far. Do you have anything to say, Cristian?
This is legit where I thought like somebody was gonna die in order to sacrifice Rhonda, because I knew there's no way Rhonda was gonna die. Like that's just not gonna happen. Yeah. And so legit for a second I was like either Earl. I think Val is gonna be the hero, but then Earl is gonna be like the sacrifice. And it just doesn't happen, which is not a complaint or anything. I'm just was like, oh man, I totally thought someone was gonna die here, and they didn't. Thank God.
No, for sure. Actually, I will say, and this is me being critical about the movie. Val is hanging out on top of his truck and is fighting one, and the other one is fighting them. You get that really cool where it's like, there's another one. And then you see like the wheelbarrow like flip on its side and shit, and it comes forward. That was really cool. But the other one just stops fighting Vale, I guess, and he just runs away. I don't know if that other Graboid got distracted. They don't really kind of go about it. But he's the one that like pickaxe the Graboid at first. Rhonda's like, take off your pants.
For some reason.
It made sense.
I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense.
Yeah, but take off your pants. And she's like, what? And like, take off your pants. And then, yeah, she's straight up runs. There's that awesome shot of the boards going up as they're running, which I thought is really, really cool. And then, of course, yeah, we're in the store. We're being very quiet. We're being very chill. We don't know where Mindy and her mother is at this point. I think she's looking for Mindy. And, there's still a little bit more of that Rhonda and Val getting to know each other. He's tending to her wounds, They're being very quiet and cute. It's very nice. She gets more pants. And then you just start hearing, you do, you hear the, you're like, what the fuck's that noise? It's Mindy. Mindy, which of course, this whole movie has been doing so many pogo stick things with her headphones. She can't hear anything. And of course, Val, the badass that he is, just runs for it. Just go ahead and goes for her and manages to grab her, and the pogo stick stays still and then just gets sucked in and then shot right out of the side. That was awesome. Go ahead, Cristian.
Yes. Okay. This is going back to that note I made about audio cues, like being so strong in this movie, because it was perfect the way you described it, because you hear it and you just know, because you've heard that pogo stick like 2 or 3 times beforehand. You just know she's in danger. These kids have no idea. By the way, Kevin Bacon absolutely sprinting towards this girl was just fantastic in terms of like tension. But like,
yes. Do
you remember how they get away from the Graboid at that point? It's just fine.
I think they're able to make it back to safety
pretty quickly.
Mindy is with her mom. They end up going back in their house, and then they hide in their house. If I'm not mistaken, Melvin's instilled a thing down there, and I think Melvin's making noise, and then it goes over there. I'm not sure if that happens in the same frames, but I just know that they just have enough time just for the moment for them to just separate and go their separate ways, because Melvin then starts making a bunch of noise, and if I'm not mistaken, he then gets scared because the thing's starting to come up. He goes up on top, right?
Yeah,
and
they yell at him to go onto the roof.
Oh yes, that's a little bit later. That's right. This is the part, and this is where we meet our first major town death. I will say that we're if some resound. The name, the man who gave the name to the worm itself, the Graboid. We get to the part where the thing they set up earlier, which of course was that damn refrigerator, that damn Pepsi refrigerator, just making some noise, making some weird ass noises. And sure enough, they go run, they try to unplug it. And sadly, the Graboid bursts through the convenience store and takes out our first resident that we care about.
This one hurt.
Chang. Yeah.
This one got me the first time I watched it, like really hard. I was really surprised that they killed him.
Yeah.
So he's old. Like you don't kill old guys, man. That's not cool in a movie.
No, not at all. Now who has at least had some fun moments, and I of course love his like, what are we gonna do? It's still stuck in my head that he says earlier in the movie. I of course, like I said, I have reference of him from the other movies, so just seeing him on screen is a lot of fun. But no, Walter Chang, shout out, rest in peace. Of course, that convenience store, it to me is a fixture of the series, and it's awesome that it still has his name.
It does lead to a cool moment though of like everyone like scrambling to get up on top of the shelves, right?
Yeah.
Like that was like really cool.
Going with my theme of it's basically a movie about Thor's lava, which, you know, you gotta love it. I love that. But you're absolutely right. Of course, everyone themselves are climbing up on these different shelves. The Graboid's getting pretty smart and starts knocking the shelves over. Everyone starts to make it to the roof except for Rhonda. Rhonda goes through the fucking window. And, of course, Val freaks the hell out, gets to the top, sees that Rhonda's not on the ground, immediately assumes that the worst, that the lady that he might have a crush on is dead. But no, she's on the the ladder of the water tank there. And totally fine, because you know why? She's a fucking badass, and she's totally cool. And then, as Mike pointed out, this is now the part where we tell Melvin get up on his roof. We tell Nestor, we tell Mindy and them, everybody get on their roofs, right? I'm trying to remember if Nestor happens or Burt Gummer happens. Do you remember? Do you guys remember? If I'm going to take a guess,
I think it's the Burt thing next.
That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, so
It does.
we get to have a little interlude with Burt Gummer and Heather Gummer, where they return back home, and they are, I think they're making bullets. I have no idea. I forgot what they're doing. They're shaking rounds
They
up.
got it in a tumbler, right?
Yeah. They're in the tumbler. I'm not a gun guy, so I'm not sure exactly what that does, but it's making a whole lot of noise.
I think they're reloading rounds is what they're doing.
Are they doing that? If that's how you do it, cool. I didn't know that. That's cool. They had a device that does that. They of course get the walkie, not the walkie, or the radio. They're trying to call Bert to let him know that they're under the ground. They're under the ground. And of course he's like, "What? What?" And I will say, watching it this time, Bert does that for way too long. Like, what? What are you talking about? He clearly hears what he says. Like, what are you referring to under the ground? Get on the roof. What are you talking about? It's a little ridiculous, but one of my favorite scenes of all time, of course, happens in here, and that is you start getting the rumblings of the Graboid, and it just fucking bursts through the wall, and immediately shot, just boom, blasting. I was just blasting.
Come on, we
That's
gotta
when I start blasting.
This scene is insane, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
it is absolutely insane. In a good way, though. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. No, 100%. And then, of course, you think like, oh, no, these people are not going to make this. They're going to be like the next victims. And then, of course, Bert gets wrapped up at one point, and then Heather comes in and just like shotguns it. And straight up, that's when you get the reveal of the fucking massive gun wall equipped with flare guns and a giant elephant gun. And yeah, they just go to fucking town, and the music is triumphant. And you can see a curtain right next to the Graboid, which is clearly to block out the blackness in the background, which I found funny. But yeah, Burt Gummer, Heather survives this ordeal. They're out of breath. They had an orgasm, clearly, when they were shooting all these bullets. It's very much Kismic sex.
Just went straight to the orgasm, huh?
No, totally. That's literally, he's like, oh. Like, he literally has that moment. Went into the wrong rec room, you bastard. Love it.
Incredible.
The giant 8-gauge shotgun is one of my favorite things from the movie. Like just that ridiculous sized gun that like flashbacks to watching Predator for the first time when Jesse Ventura's got the minigun. It's like, oh, what the fuck? Yeah, I love it.
Love it. Love it so much. And this makes Burt Gummer one of my favorite characters of all time. Simply the scene alone. So we get wind back, unless anybody else has any more comments. We get wind back to the others that, hey, Burt's successful. He actually took down one of the mother humpers, which awesome. I love that they replaced that line. This, of course, and then starts the Graboids to be a little more adventurous, and they're going to go ahead and test out these buildings, and they're messing around. They're messing around with the store. They're messing around with Mindy's house. Go ahead.
The camper, too.
The camper, which, of course, this begins our next death, which is good old Nestor clearly saw the monster and saw how big it was like a tire is good enough.
Good Nestor.
Dude, it's the way he gets sucked through the hole of the tire that like gets me. Like, oh my god, that's gotta be painful.
Yeah, literally folded it in half, goes in. You hear him travel for a while because he goes to Melvin, and then Melvin has that whole, "What are you guys gonna do? I'm a fucking bitch," you know, like that's fucking Melvin's role in this entire movie.
Mario hates this kid so much.
I fucking hate him, and I hate him that I love the one catchphrase of this movie that I use all the time on Twitter, which is "Way to go, dude," which is an awesome GIF, which I posted, I think, in our little private chat. I think if you saw it, but yeah, "Way to go, dude" is still one of my favorite things from this movie. So we lose Nestor. Nestor, you know, not much of a character, kind of a dummy. Will this come back later? Who knows? We'll go from that to, obviously, they got to do something, guys, because clearly they're fucking around with these foundations and they're going to tear this shit apart. And they talk to Bert and they're like, "Bert, you got to get out of here and get in your car and drive to Bixby or whatever. You got to go up to the mountains." And sure enough, we learn one of the graboids, they're trying to shoot it from the ground, which you can see that does not work.
Yeah.
Even with the elephant gun, can't do it. No penetration whatsoever. They destroy their car miraculously. Okay, cool. They know how to do that now. All right. They learned something about vehicles, apparently. Which this leads to, all right, we got to come up with a plan. The plan is we got to run to this thing that we saw very quickly in the beginning of the movie. Go ahead, stop me. Mm-hmm.
Okay, before you go there.
Yeah.
Again, this is one of the positives that I wrote down that I really want to say. Because like you went through it quickly, but like in the movie it goes by like a bit slower because they're like trying to execute all these plans one by one, and one by one they keep failing because the worms are like outsmarting them before they even get to begin. Like that alone as like a horror element of the movie is like fantastic. Like I don't know if I would survive this movie based on like this one like 5 to 10 minute sequence of their plans all failing. I just don't know.
Yeah, no, 100%. But this is why you got Bert and Earl. All right, Bert and Earl. Val and Earl. He's got Val and Earl in the case, all right? Because without them, none of this happens. None of this third act happens. Well, actually, semi-true. We also need Bert in this as well. So we come with a new plan. The new plan, of course. Let's do the cat. And everyone's like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" "Oh, yeah, the tractor you guys sat by while y'all drank beer earlier in the movie that I skipped," right? Because it was part of the deciding to leave Bixby part. It's very quick. It is the one element of the movie where I'm like, it's almost completely unset up, except for the fact that you see them buy it in one scene. I wonder if that is a deleted thing, but it doesn't matter at this point. The cat. The cat is, of course, is a bobcat, aka the tractor, like kind of like a deal, like a. It's built like a tank. I don't know how to describe it. I'm not a construction man, but you know what I mean. It moves shit, moves dirt, right? It's one of those things. Okay. They have a tractor trailer that just so happens to be perfectly empty and has a thing that people could lay in. I don't know. That also I find it very convenient. Doesn't matter. Okay. It's fucking cool for the third act. They're going to do the course, paper, scissors. Go ahead.
Okay. You could tell I was going to say.
Oh, yeah. I got you.
Listen. As a person who grew up in Bakersfield, California, like in like the rural parts surrounding those areas, like you see shit like that all the time. Like like when they say the cat, like I knew immediately, like, oh yeah, there's just a bulldozer there. Like, yeah, that makes sense. And then like the half empty trailer, I used to see that shit all the time. Like, is it convenient? Sure, like for the movie, but like, is it real? Kind of. You know, like, they kind of nailed that.
That's cool. That's cool. Thank you for that perspective. Of course, they do their classic. We're going to Rochambeau, rock, paper, scissors for it. Val, of course, loses yet again, except he's like, "Oh, well, I guess I got to go do it." And Earl's like, "No, I'm wiser. I'm going to do this shit." And then they do this really great. Oh, and the other part of that plan, of course, is Miguel, who we haven't talked a lot about him. Miguel, shout out to Hispanic representation. You're smart. You actually helped this thing go through. Shout out to you. You're pretty awesome. And he also does probably one of the more dangerous things, which is they dangle him down and he has to set up this object, this tractor, and then have it send off Walter's tractor. And then he just stands there, I guess, for the rest of the attack, which is terrifying. I don't know how he got back up. They don't explain that. But I don't care. We're going to go ahead and we're going to go for this run. So the tractor goes off Minnie and them are celebrating over there. He's celebrating over here. And because they call each other dickhead, I forgot what it was. They say beautiful things to each other, and then Val just gut checks him in the stomach and does this awesome jump off the roof, smashing his ass to the ground. Immediately regretting his decision, runs towards the cat. And as he's running, everyone's like, "This is working! Oh my god, we're actually gonna do it!" Until, of course, the inevitable problem for a tractor is a hill. It fucking just tips over, stops dead in his tracks. The creatures don't even attack it. I think it just stops doing its thing. Immediately they hear Val running. Val stops and he keeps running. They go up to catch up to him. And immediately Rhonda, being the smartest person in the movie, is like, "Stop moving! Stop!" Stops. Awesome little tension moment there. Go ahead, Christian.
Okay. Well, keep going, then I'll ask it. I have to wait till after you.
Well, basically, it goes with the fact that the creature can't find him, right? But he knows he's there. It is this awesome, that cool puppet that goes to the ground, doing the thing. He's lifting his leg up, he's dropping it down. He's lifting his leg up, he's dropping it down. And everyone's like, "All right, we gotta make some noise." Like, "Come and get my ass!" Blah 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 blah. So screaming. "Hey, you slime buckets!" Rhonda has the best non-cursory bad stuff to say, which is hilarious.
It's because she's sweet.
She's so sweet and wonderful.
Yeah.
And just great and smart and a perfect 10 in my opinion. I love Rhonda. She's one of my favorite characters of all time. But of course she's the smartest one of them all and decides to kick the water thing, which immediately I was like, "Oh no, but what happens if you need water?" But they kicks the thing, and of course it makes a lot of noise, so the Graboids now run towards her. Which I immediately got scared, was like, they're going to knock down the tower. They do not. Val continues his journey, gets on the cat, backs it to the tractor, ties it all up with a chain, and immediately everyone's happy. Everyone's freaking excited because, yes, the plan worked. They're going to get out of there. It's going to be awesome. They get everyone. Rhonda, is the first person on it. They do this cute little thing where they sit next to each other. Obviously, everyone else somehow gets on it. They make it up to Bert Gummer's house, and Bert taking his sweet ass time because what is Bert doing in this spare time? Oh, that's right. He's making fucking PVC bombs, dog.
Insane. Like, this is like what made me say, like, oh, these guys maybe are a little bit like kind of freakish. But you know what? It's okay. Like, for the purpose of the plot, like it's cool. Like, I'm glad there's some freaks.
Certified freaks, 7 days of the week. You know what I'm saying?
I have a question for everyone now that this scene is wrapped.
Of course.
Maybe I've just never noticed. Is Kevin Bacon a cool guy?
Oh, 100% he's a cool guy.
I think he's a cool guy.
I would say so, probably. Like, do you mean in life? Like, real? Like, actually? I don't know. But
whatever that definition means to you,
To me, he's the workhorse, right? That's the reason why there's 6 degrees of bacon. Is because everyone loves to work with him.
He's had a great career.
Yeah.
I mean, he played Jack Swagger in Apollo 13. Jack Swagger, one of the coolest astronauts of all time.
That is a movie I need to watch. That's still something I have not seen.
Oh,
he's in one of the greatest horror movies ever made called Hollow Man. So,
Hollow Man, yeah.
Oh my god,
he is not a cool guy in Hollow Man.
He's not a cool guy in Hollow Man. Josh Brolin, arguably a cooler guy in Hollow Man. Romanitra,
like Brolin.
Man, I'm sorry, but ultimately, no, I love Hollow Man. Unquietly, it is a bad movie, but I love it so much.
That has to be the movie that killed Kevin Bacon's career, if anything.
At least the momentum, right? The momentum.
Yeah.
Slowed it down. That or Stir of Echoes. Remember that movie? That was pretty
I
crazy.
do. Yeah.
And then, what's his face brought him back? I think it was James Wan did a action movie with him. That
he was in that TV show that I felt like was really popular.
The Following?
The Following.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
He was in The Following?
Yeah, he's the main guy.
He's like the main bad guy in The Following, right?
Yeah. It's pretty cool. Yeah, he's had a pretty crazy career, let's be honest. I looked it up. I'm 4 degrees away from Kevin Bacon, which is pretty cool. I learned that not that long ago.
Okay, so I know you, so that puts me at 5.
Yeah, sure.
I'll take it.
Yeah. There you go.
Is that how that works?
Yeah. No, totally how it works.
I think so.
I'll reiterate in another episode how it works. I forgot how it was. Something with Guillermo del Toro. It doesn't matter. Anyways, Okay, so we go to Bert Montgomery, Gerd's certified freak, has all these bombs, puts them in a thing. You know, they notice that if they stay still long enough, they're burrowing underneath them. Something bad's happening. They get all in the thing. Everything seems good. They're going to the mountains. They're not heading to Bixby. I wish they were going to Bixby, but they're going into the mountains. And as they're heading to the mountains, we obviously get to this wonderful vista of this cliff and this perfectly centered residual boulder, just right there, which is awesome for your final act. And you got Earl, who's on top of the cat's like arm thing, and I'm terrified the entire time he's there. He's just holding the gun like this, being awesome. And would you know it, those goddamn graboids, smart as hell, smart as rocks, make a trap, which causes the cat to tumble over, stops it dead in its tracks, and now everyone's kind of screwed. Bert falls off onto the ground, absolutely terrified, but the next shot, he's totally okay. He's covered in dust. Everyone's freaking out. They're trying to figure out what they're going to do. Cristian, go ahead.
108,000 pounds.
Oh.
This freaking worm just pulled. 108,000 pounds.
My
Big
God.
worm.
Big worm.
Big worm.
Big worm.
Big worm. And I'm terrified of him in the Friday movies, but this guy's way worse. Way worse. That was a bad reference to Friday in review. Let's start that later.
Wait, like the Ice Cube, like Friday?
Yes,
Is that what
Friday.
you Dude,
Mm-hmm.
let's do it. I love those movies.
If this becomes a real show, we definitely got to change the name. And maybe the format. But
Sorry, Tremors, you lasted a good
Man,
almost the whole show.
all video game podcasts are mostly the same.
No,
It's fine.
yeah.
Format's fine.
Look, somebody has to step up and do the interviews that Kind of Funny won't do. And if it's got to be us, then it's got to be us.
Yeah.
if that's the title of the show, the interviews that Kind of Funny won't do.
Yeah.
I love it. I
Book
love it. Again, 100 episodes, you get 4. 1,000 episodes, you get the rest of the series, as far as I'm concerned. For this beautiful April's Fool joke. So now, what are we gonna do, guys? How are we gonna escape this thing? Well, Bert, being the crazy person, throws a bomb, and we notice that it scares the damn graboids away, and we're like, huh. Well, let's go ahead and throw it the opposite direction in which we're going to go, and let's run from those residual boulders. Okay, cool. Melvin doesn't want to go. He's freaking out. He's like, I want a gun. He's like, I wouldn't give you a gun in World War III. Exactly what you said earlier. Fantastic.
Amazing.
It's a great line. 100%. They finally get to a part, though, where he's like, all right, I'll give you a gun. He hands him a gun. They throw the bomb, and they run ass. They haul ass to this residual boulder. Melvin immediately stops and thinks he's in a gangster film, tries to shoot, I don't know what the fuck, and doesn't have any bullets. He's like, Bert, you bastard! There's no bullets in this gun. Got you moving, didn't it? Loved it. Love that line. Love that whole section.
Yeah.
Bert is so good.
Everyone has great lines, like one-liners in this movie.
Yes, everyone has it as a moment that is iconic in my opinion, except for Nestor. Except Nestor gets sucked through the ground. It's a pretty iconic death. Yeah, it's pretty iconic. Of course, everyone is on the residual boulder, and they're just like, well, fuck, okay, what's the next step after this? There's no pole vaults, which is a cool reference that they brought back from the earlier in the movie. This is when everyone's sort of like kind of crestfallen. It's like, well, this is it. We had food, we had water, we had shelter. It was like, we're not going to last over there back in perfection. No, we had to make some choice. This is better than no choice, right? The day kind of starts going by, and then they're all laying down on each other. This is a cool shot of just all of them, just like Melvin's over here, Miguel's over here. Like, it's fucking cool. And then you got Heather and Bert talking, and Bert's like, if it comes to it, I'm going to walk out there. I'm going to swallow me up and take me down. Boom. And of course, Fred Ward, Earl Bassett. That's not a bad idea. And then Bert's like, what? And it's like, no. Hear me out. This is actually not a bad idea. More like fishing like. And then boom, somehow. And again, I'm not complaining. They have a wonderful fishing line. Totally okay with that. I don't know where that came from. Doesn't matter. It's fucking cool. All right. Bert, prepared. That's how I explain it.
He probably carries some amount of like rope or string with him at all times.
Yeah. That rope looks totally weird to me, and I thought it was totally cool with it. Totally fine with it. of course, this begins one of my favorite parts, of course, is like, what are we going to do? Well, we're going to fish these fucking worms out, and we're going to light this fuse. We're going to do the lasso thing, which I love that little joke, which I thought was really funny. Again, stop me at any time. Let me know. He does the lasso thing, throws it, pulls it. Little wormies grab it, eat it, lets it go. They all run back. Perfect explosion. Pow! They're all celebrating, and fucking guts everywhere. Starts splatting people. Gummer has like one that's like lands right here and falls off. Melvin's like covered in shit. I fucking love it. You see the aftermath, and the aftermath is gross. There's like this weird like.
It's like tomato soupy, like weirdness.
There's fucking like balloon animal in there as well. There's like white balloon animal.
So I made the mistake of eating my dinner during this climax scene. Yeah, and I mean it's just like chicken, rice, and veggies. There's nothing too major here. But like when that thing blew up, it was like almost like, all right, I gotta put down my plate for a second. Like what is going on? Like it goes back to my note, like how disgusting these creatures are, and like I just couldn't eat for like another 5 or 10. I gotta wait till this movie's over, and then I'll go back to eating.
Yeah. And of course,
this is one of my like favorite bits of the movie though, because like it kind of becomes like a recurring thing through the first 3 movies, where like Bert has to come up with a way to kill the monster, and like they talked to him earlier. He's like, I've never figured out a way to shoot into the ground before. And then so they leave him for a while, and he's got a couple hours to himself. And what does he spend his entire time doing? Figuring out how to fuck up things that are inside the ground. He makes a bunch of bombs. Yeah. Like it's really smart. Like stuff like that kind of comes back later in the series too, which is really cool.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely wonderful. But as everyone has said before, these worms are fucking smart, right? These are smart ass worms. And what do? They go ahead and ready. We're going to throw out another one. This time Val's going to do it. He's not going to do that silly lasso thing. He's just going to do a quick chuck and do it. Does it perfectly awesome, right? And of course, the last person that we're fighting, of course, is Stumpy. Don't forget about that. It is Stumpy. We know him because they gave him a name, so we're calling him Stumpy.
He's the best worm.
He's the best worm of this movie.
The biggest one too, right?
I'm assuming so. I assume so.
Okay.
I mean, he's definitely the one.
In my head canon, it's the biggest.
No, totally, and he's also the one that has the most knowledge, right? He's the one that's learned and has dealt with damage to himself, so he knows not to do certain things. So, I personally find him the most smartest of the worms. But when it comes to this bomb, of course, Stumpy grabs it. What does he fucking do? Prick throws it back. But not only does he throw it back, it somehow lands in the actual bag of all the other bombs, which causes a massive explosion on the residual boulder. And everyone fucking hides behind different rocks, hides different areas. For some reason, and I don't know how they did it, they got so far away from it. It was Val, Earl, and Rhonda were outside really far away from the boulder. They, of course, run back immediately, are ambushed by Stumpy. They stop moving. And in Val's arm, if I'm not mistaken, he actually was carrying one of those spare bombs. And Stumpy's like trying to find him out, and he goes away and disappears. And then Kevin Bacon learns that
incredible.
This bastard thinks he's smart. Love it. Absolutely love it.
I thought that part was funny because I think somebody, I don't remember who says it, but like they're like far away from the rocks. They're like, why are you all the way over there?
Bert says it.
Yeah,
Bert says
it. Like as if the bombs weren't that powerful enough to cause like a crazy explosion.
Yeah.
Like he knows. He knows his bombs.
Yeah.
He knows exactly what the blast radius of those bombs are.
So it was kind of funny where they're like, why are you guys all the way over there?
Idiots.
Idiots. Because everybody.
You guys don't know bombs?
They were terrified, and that's why all 3 of them ran out.
Yeah.
Which it's hilarious. That, of course, he's like, these things are not that smart. And then he starts formulating a plan, right? And he's not verbalizing the plan, which I actually appreciate, because then he just takes off running like a bat out of hell, right? He starts running towards, which we saw earlier was a cliff face, right? Mm-hmm. Starts running. The worm pops out. That scares Earl. Earl also balls running straight. We get Val and him running together, right? And then he's like, I got a goddamn plan. And sure enough, they run past Rhonda. And then he's trying to find the lighter. Doesn't have the lighter, but you know who does? Rhonda apparently has the lighter. Rhonda has the lighter. He's like, then she starts running. So there's now 3 people, all dudes, running to the cliff face. They get to the cliff face. Of course, Stumpy is right behind them. And he cuts, I think, a little bit of a wick because we learned that it's 15 seconds is the normal wick. So he cuts it like in half almost. And he's like, hold on. And as this thing is coming, it's like Jaws. It's like, smile, you son of a bitch. It's fucking awesome. They're constantly telling him, like, throw it. It's like, no, wait. And then he's like, light it. And then they light it. And straight up, he throws it, but he doesn't throw it in front of it. He throws it behind it. And he's like, you threw it too far. And then you got that cool shot of like, and then they run sideways, but Val stays until the very last fucking second, jumps over. Yeah, just this like 180 jump over this worm. As the worm, can you fly, sucker? Can you fly? Flies out throughout the thing, smalls on the ground, completely just burst open like a watermelon.
So good.
The
Incredible
Graboids
shot.
are done. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about it for a minute. Did you think that's how the movie was going to end, Cristian?
No, this was more insane to me than the whole shootout in the basement. Somehow, I don't understand. I think it has to do with Bert's bombs, but and this, it has to wrap up kind of quickly, almost a bit too quickly in my opinion. But yeah, just the whole like fishing, tying those bombs up, was just batshit insane for me.
Yeah.
Did I enjoy it? Yes, of course I did, because I have to. There's explosions going on, and these worms are dying. But yeah. Just absolutely insane. And also, I do really appreciate the shot of the Stumpy,
yes,
like flying out almost in slow motion. I don't think it was actually slowed down. Just how deep that like fall was.
Yeah.
It's a really good effect.
Really good effect. Yeah, which of course I believe is mostly miniatures. And then that final shot, if I'm not mistaken, is a matte painting. If I'm not mistaken, right? It's like matte painting and the real shot. Yeah, really, really fucking cool. Mike, what did you think of this ending of Tremors?
I thought it was great. I mean, it's kind of how the first worm died too, so that was kind of interesting. Like it just crashed through something again. I don't know, these worms like crashing through walls. It's pretty hilarious.
Yeah.
So,
except not concrete this time, so we know.
Yeah,
yeah.
It reminded me of Midsummer. So this is definitely.
Wow. I did not think about that at all.
Okay.
I will not explain what that means, but I love that you brought that up in a Tremors movie.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh yeah, this is where Midsummer got this, of course. So yeah, it was great.
Fantastic. So Jose, do you have anything? Sorry, Brandon, do you have anything to say about this at all?
I mean, it's so
fucking,
cool. Like
cool.
It's really just kind of like smart screen or just like good screenwriting of just like use as many things as you can. Like they keep like writing themselves into things and then like coming up with clever ways to do it. And yeah, like early on in the movie, the worms learn not to run into stuff. And so it's like, well, what happens when like there's nothing there for them to like run through? Like it doesn't know that it's a canyon there. So just like, really, really smart way to end off your film.
Yeah. And then to connect it all the way back to the very first shot of Val pissing off the cliff, which is, of course, he stampedes or makes a joke about stampeding. And he says it in the scene. He says, it just kind of came to me, stampede and all or something like that.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Oh, wow. I totally missed that connection.
Yep.
Until you pointed out. Oh, yeah.
It's a deep film. Very deep.
Yeah.
Makes the film 10 times better. Of course, this is now everyone's survives. Whoever survived. Sorry, Nestor and Walter. We go back to perfection, which I guess everyone's trying to get back to their lives, get back to everything. Whoever is gonna run this convenience store, who knows? Otherwise, it's free shit to start taking whatever you want, as far as I'm concerned. Of course. They get the tires back on the vehicle. Looks like Val and Earl are still trying to make their way over to Bixby. They're also going to take some photos of this giant thing and send it off to People Magazine, which, of course, Earl says National Geographic. So iconic.
Why didn't they just post it on Twitter? I'm kidding.
You know why? Because everyone just be like fake news,
Put it in an
Could you
AOL
deep
chat
fake,
room.
AOL chat room.
Imagine the day of Twitter that Tremors happens in the real world of just
Oh
like
my
6
God.
people out in a super small town just like posting videos on Twitter and TikTok just like, hey, there's this weird thing going on in the middle of the desert today.
The pole vaulting scene, but it's TikTok live.
I won't lie to you.
it.
I would remake this movie, and it would be with like culture today, and it would be the most insufferable people, and it would be so great. And my movie though would be The Worms Win. So we'll go and get to Rhonda stops by, or Val's trying to be all cool. He grabs. We didn't mention this earlier, but he has Tammy Lynn Baxter all over his window thing for the car. He rips that all down to not be a pervert anymore. Yeah, he's talking to.
That's right.
He's talking to Rhonda. They're saying their kind of goodbyes. She's gonna go back to school and looks like she's in the lead of this, and it's gonna be great for her and everybody involved. She starts to walk away, and then of course Bert and Val. I'm sorry, Bert. Earl gives Val a look, and Val's like, "I'm working up to it," and you get that really awkward. Which, by the way, this scene would have not existed if it wasn't for test audiences, if I'm not mistaken. I believe they do not kiss.
Yeah,
this.
that's right. Yeah.
And they're like,
Okay.
fuck that. We need them to kiss.
Here's my question then.
Yes.
What's the better version of the movie then? Of the ending? Kiss or no kiss?
I prefer the kiss, personally.
You gotta have the kiss.
I think the kiss is fine. Yeah.
Do
personally.
you?
I don't
Do
think
you?
they don't deserve each other. No, she deserves way better by 1,000 degrees. Not gonna.
Oh, Val's great.
I never felt like Rhonda had like any kind of affection towards Val in any capacity until the very end. Like oh okay, now I can see she
feel
kind of
like-
wants to flirt a little bit here.
Again, the magnificent pole vaulting scene, like the before that, there was like the jacket like on top of her or whatever.
Oh right.
And I think she kind of showed some sort of affection there.
Also,
There's that. She goes out the
he
window.
looks like Kevin Bacon.
yeah.
Yeah.
He looks
Cool
like
Kevin
the
Bacon.
guy from Footloose. Who
1990s Kevin Bacon.
They got me there. Not gonna lie. And there's also the scene where she falls through the window and he shows like remorse, and then they have this sort of moment where they, why you keep asking me? And I think it's cute. But yeah, the movie ends with them kissing, and then cut in Reba McEntire as the credits roll by. That of course concludes Tremors. What a movie!
Incredible.
What a movie! What
Really
a
good movie.
What a cast. What a bunch of lovely characters that have always been a part of my life. Walter Chang, Nestor, Melvin, Mindy, and of course, Bert and Earl. And Val.
By the way, shout out to the costume design of this movie as well. Like they're not doing anything groundbreaking. It's just normal clothing, but like making clothes look like not torn, but like worn and like used in movies is like not a lot of movies do that pretty often. And this it's perfect.
Yeah, 100%. I'm pretty sure Fred Ward walked the set that one day. No, I'm just kidding.
The only
Just
time
like
the only time it doesn't is the end, and Val's wearing like this perfect white shirt, like
Yeah.
the
Like he's
knight in
ascended.
shining armor, and he's like the
Nah,
good
great.
hero thing, whatever.
Also, costume design the Atlanta Hawks hat Bert's wearing.
Oh my
Gotta
god!
shout
yes.
that out.
I found
Fans
out.
of the series know.
I found out there is a Etsy that does sell just those hats, and
Really?
I'm gonna buy. Yeah, because it was on the Dead Meat.
Okay.
It was on that show I just said, Dead Meat. They have a link that you can buy them, and so
I will also be buying one of those hats.
Once I get my paycheck, I will be buying one or two of those hats for sure.
Do you think there's Graboid plushies out there as well?
Oh my god, please!
There
They
must
they
be.
must
Yeah,
they must
please.
exist.
Please. I wish we had the budget of the Dead Meat show, because someone actually made him a Graboid statue, and I was like, motherfucker, like I want
Oh, that's cool.
all those things. I was almost gonna say something. I'm not gonna say it now. But yeah, so like I'm excited. For obviously the future movies. For all this, it's gonna be fun. But this movie holds a place in my heart. Still does, even when I watched it last night. I'm still trying to convince my friend, who has only agreed to 20 minutes of it, and then get to the good part. Only got to the part where the doctor dies, and I was like, no, you got to see the pole vaulting scene. You're gonna love it. It's gonna be great. Can't convince her past that part, sadly. But yeah, I think that's it. Does anyone even want to try a haiku and review? Because I'm not gonna lie to you, it's not my favorite part of the show, but also I can't do it.
No. The listeners need to send those in for the next time.
Yeah.
You know?
If you want us to do 4, 5, 6, which will probably, be out with people involvement, then that's where you would do it. But otherwise,
here's what I can do.
Yeah.
As a substitution, I'm on Letterboxd, so every now
Okay.
and then, like 90% of my reviews are just like kind of like a joke review.
Yeah.
So I can read you my Letterboxd review of Tremors. Okay.
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 And this is for all you Dune fans. It reads, "Why is Kevin Bacon shooting an Uzi at Shai Hulud?" There you have it.
Yeah.
There is.
Shai Hulud, of course, the worm in Dune.
Oh yeah.
I forgot that. Yeah, he is shooting an Uzi.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
Uzi 9mm. This is a quote, Terminator. Yeah. No, this is awesome. Brandon, I think you had a specific ranking that you want to do.
Yeah, I believe it's time for a podcast within a podcast, Mario.
Oh, I'm sorry.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Gotta Have Them Graboids, the podcast within a podcast where we rank all the monsters from the Tremors universe. Today we are ranking the Graboids from Tremors. Obviously, number 1, right?
Yeah. Honestly, you can't go wrong with number 1.
Should we specifically say Stumpy?
Oh, that's a good point.
Oh, okay. Well,
And
so
then
I don't believe that the others have specific Graboids that they fight. Like I don't think any of the ones have names. So for this one, we can put Stumpy and the worms.
They have one more, but that's not until later. But we could talk about that when we get there. But Stumpy, yep, Christian.
Here's my question.
Yeah.
And I don't want you to answer the question, Brandon, okay? I just want you to hear it. The implication with what you just said, the Graboids from Tremors, implies that there are different kinds of monsters in the forthcoming Tremors 2 through 7.
They are all Graboids throughout the entire movie.
Okay.
It's all Graboids.
That's all we'll say.
So it's the depiction of these Graboids then in Tremors.
Yes,
1.
it's Stumpy and the worms from Tremors.
Okay.
From Tremors.
Okay, I'll say this,
And
this is
I
not
vote number 1.
No, 100%. Stumpy is number 1. I'll say this, and maybe you'll understand this in a way that will not make it confusing or something like that. You know how there's Alolan versions of Pokemon?
There's what?
Alolan you don't even know. Okay, never mind. Okay,
you know how there's different like in Alien vs Predators, like
I was just thinking
aliens?
that too.
Yes.
Yeah, like the dog aliens from 3. Yeah.
It's like that.
That's where we'll stop at that.
Sorry, Pokemon fans.
That's hilarious. Okay. Well, then I guess we're also going to have to rank this movie amongst all the Graboid movies. Right now, we're ranking number 1. Who do you think should be number 1? I don't know. Maybe Tremors. Let's just go ahead and start with Tremors. Tremors is number 1.
Tremors is number 1.
In the ranking
Congrats.
for Tremors in review.
This is going to be a hard one to beat, honestly.
It really is.
If any of them are better than this, then I'll be very surprised.
I think two has a shot. If you guys really enjoy 2, it might have a shot, but I don't see anything beating Tremors 1 for the number 1 spot.
Yeah.
Here's my thing.
Yeah.
Like, if I so vehemently want to grab a beer with the 2 protagonists in Tremors 1, like, there's no way that can be topped in the following sequels. There's just no way.
If not,
we'll see.
They're back for the sequel. You don't know.
I can't wait.
We will see.
Cannot wait. Of course, this is the end of in review of the first episode. I can't believe we actually did it. We actually hit the recorder button on this. This is really cool. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to do around the room here. Cristian, where can people find you on the net?
Yes. If you're in the Portland metropolitan area, you can find me on Tinder. Swipe right. Otherwise, I am on Twitter at ISOChristian. You can follow all the projects I do, like my movie podcast, Large Popcorn, my video essays for Penultimate Conquest, and the movie podcast I do at Podcast BXN.
Fantastic. And of course, this video will be out later. So yeah, you also did a video for Tech Raptor for me, which is fantastic. Yes. Hopefully there was many more since then. And Cristian did an excellent job, and I'm really excited to see what the future holds for all of us and making awesome content. So yes, very cool. Brandon, tell us, are you going to ever find a new team? Tell us what's going to happen. Also, talk about what happened just recently, which we didn't talk about at the beginning. I'm so sorry.
Well, the Aces Well podcast, the thing that I am known for, doesn't exist anymore. The Wild Aces as a team don't exist anymore. R.I.P.
Man with a no name.
You will be missed. So yeah, I'm not doing a whole lot at the moment, but you can follow me on Twitter at Jose Ruckus, and you can I'm doing mostly streaming now. Come watch twitch.tv/Jose Ruckus. We're playing board games and doing a lot of BuzzFeed quizzes lately. I don't know, people
right.
seem to like it.
That rocks.
Nice.
That is awesome. And of course, you're also a part of a co-host show called HBO Mac.
I do occasionally do HBO Max, yeah.
Yeah, I love that show. I've been on it twice. It's fantastic. It's, of course, you and McKenna going through the catalog, which is HBO Max, because McKenna hasn't seen a lot of movies. You just recently had some guy on your show who isn't me.
Yeah, Greg something, I don't know. McKenna booked him.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Miller? Greg Miller?
Something like
Is that it?
Yeah. No, he's not better
Miller
than
High
Frank
Life?
Miller. Miller High Life. 100%. He didn't even do the assignment. I was so mad about that.
Oh my god. He didn't tell us until like an hour beforehand. And so McKenna just sends me the email from Greg. He's like, hey, forgot to watch the movie. Sorry about that. Here's some movies that I have seen. And I was like, okay, well, McKenna hasn't seen any of these, and I've only seen the first season of Sopranos. So we'll just talk about something when we get there.
Amazing.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Shout out to that episode and everything you guys do over there. Really cool. If McKenna wants to join, by the way, I'm totally cool with the guests. If McKenna wants to join us specifically just for Tremors 2, I'm totally okay as well. Doesn't see the first one would be even funnier. The episodes, by the way, Mike, if you haven't known about this, I did A League of Their Own, and I did Till Dusk Till Dawn, and I blew McKenna's mind with that one. So great. So great.
Wait for
the HBO Max.
HBO. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, you did From Dusk Till Dawn in review. I'm like, that's amazing.
Again, it's all the movies that Kind of Funny will not do. Dusk Till Dawn in review, which just has a beautiful ring to it. Not gonna lie. And Mike, where can people find you? I know you are the luxurious, beautiful person on the internet that I love hearing them got 'em jokes.
You can follow me on Twitter at the Michael J. Ruiz. I don't really do like a whole bunch of stuff really anymore, but
You're forgetting the main thing that we brought back to life.
Hold on, I'm getting there. You could watch, you could listen to a podcast that me and Ricky Freck do called Bantam Banter. I release them very sporadically. There's no regularity to it. We just kind of put it out whenever I get to it.
It's like regulated media. I love it.
Yeah. And it's all just kind of goofy stuff. And then podcast that we revived recently with Mario hosting alongside some other friends, the Model Citizen Show, which you can find on how are we doing that? I don't even know how
the video is on Point in Progress because we acquired you guys, right? We brought you guys brought back
Already an acquisition. I love it.
That's what we did. We did the X and everything. It was wonderful. But the audio will have its own feed. The first episode is on Point in Progress if you've already associated with us or otherwise listening. But Max is taking care of the audio feed, and not only that, he's putting all the old episodes that we did too. So there's actually 36 old episodes of terrible audio that you could listen to right off the bat, which is fantastic. I listened to the last episode of our podcast. I don't know what the fuck I was doing. I don't know what the hell that was. But anyways, the new episodes are perfect.
You guys have been talking about it back like behind the scenes or whatever. I'm kind of just like there. So, but yes, please listen to that. It's fun.
We're talking about Jeff Buckley.
We basically
love Jeff Buckley.
Thank you, God, finally.
Vindication.
Yes. We basically give my friend like music assignments in that episode. We're gonna do it like every month, but that's only coming out like once a month.
A month. Yeah, it's a thing that we can commit to right now. But otherwise, who knows in the future? We still love each other, and we still like having a lot of fun, and that's really all it's about. Again, I want to thank everybody. Of course, you can find me over here at Point in Progress, where we do awesome things all the time. We, of course, have the Point in Progress podcast, the MCS podcast, and, of course, MCU University, where I talk about Marvel movies that are not in the MCU, but maybe in the MCU. Who knows? Time's a flat circle at this point. And you can also find me on Twitter at NightMuteCity, where you can see all of my fun stuff. And, I am now the head of video strategy at Tech Raptor. That is something new that I have to get used to saying out loud, where I
Congratulations.
am taking control and having people do awesome things and wonderful voices on there already. Of course, like I said, Cristian has done it. Tiffany Australia is starting to do it. Scott White, everyone. There's a bunch of people that are doing some awesome things in this space. So very excited about that. Well, until next time, grab on, grab off. I don't know.
Oh man.
Grab on, grab on.
Great job.